Hey guys, Probably1701 here, and today on It's Armageddon, we are looking at the top sixth Doctor Colin Baker's stories we would save if we could only save 5 stories from Colin Baker's era. Now, since Colin Baker's era to me never was fully concluded, I'm going to be allowing Big Finish stories in this too, because that is a lot of times where the Sixth Doctor really shines. What kind of redeemed him was his Big Finish stuff. So looking at the television series and the Big Finish audios, there is one Big Finish story on my list because I've only listened to one Big Finish story, but I really like it. It will be on my list. We'll get to that. I did want to point out that this was this It's Armageddon series I'm doing on these Doctors was suggested to me by one of my fellow Doctor Who YouTubers, Paul, who said he'd really like me to do this in my It's Armageddon range I do. I thought it sounded like a good idea, so we're going to be looking at the 6 Doctor stories today. Starting off with Vengeance on Varos, I forget. I like it. It's my favorite Colin Baker story. Really kind of predicts reality TV. Very violent. Like season 22 is very violent. A couple guys get pushed in acid. The Doctor, the cliffhanger there is him like almost dying. That shot on his face is so creepy and graphic. Perry gets turned into a bird, sort of. That is really the one thing about the episode I'm like. Then there's the part where I think the Doctor almost gets hanged. And I'm beginning to think the reason season 24 is so silly and comical is it's a direct reaction to season 22 being so dark and over the top and definitely not suited for children's TV. And the story has a lot of that too, but it's still a good story. I like the commentary it has running. I think it's an interesting setup. I think it really predates reality TV and predicts it really well. I think Colin is really good in it. It's got Syl in it. I think Syl is a really good villain. I've heard some people say he's the last truly great, memorable villain of Classic Who. I don't know if I agree with that, but I can see why they would say that. I do like him a lot. I think the guy who plays him does a really, really good job. I think for Colin stories, you have to save that one. Number 2 is Revelation of the Daleks. All 3 of the Dalek stories from the 80s are really good. I need to rewatch this one. I haven't watched it in a while. Plus, I've never seen the special enhanced version of it. I know the DVD does have a version with enhanced effects. I haven't got to see that. But I do enjoy most of the original story. I really hate that one DJ guy. He's really annoying. I was glad when he died. But the rest of the story I liked. I liked everything going on there. I love this. It's another episode that shows just how devious and uncaring and unemotional Davros is, the lengths he'll go through for his Daleks and what he's actually doing to people. I like the bit with the glass Dalek with the one guy in it. That's really, really well realized. I love the confrontation at the end between the Doctor and Davros. Those are usually good, their interactions, much like their confrontation in Resurrection is really good and Remembrance is really good. But yeah, I really enjoy this one. I think it's one of Colin's best stories as well. Number 3 is The Two Doctors. While I think this story is too long at 3 parts, considering they're 45-minute parts, and some of the stuff it does with Troughton is sad, I do think the best part of this story is Troughton. It's the reason it's on the list is Troughton and Jamie. The reason this story is on the list is I love Troughton and Jamie. Although I do like that Six and Jamie get along pretty well. I will say that. I do think Six and Jamie get along pretty well. But it's nice having Troughton back, even if the way he's written it in the best, with him becoming one of those creatures for a little bit of time, is weird and doesn't really make sense. The one scene when they're in the restaurant eating, I think is played for laughs when you could have done it really serious and dark. Like the one server there, that guy overacts his butt off. Like when he's dying, he's like, oh, it's a far better thing I do. I don't remember what he says. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I just remember that scene, the way it was directed, not coming off well. I think it seemed more humorous if you had done that darker, it would have been so much better. But I guess I can see why, it being the second Doctor, you would want to do it darker. But yeah, it's not flawless it's certainly not flawless. It definitely has its fair share of flaws. But I do like some of the ideas in it, and I do love seeing Troughton and Jamie back. So it's on the list mainly for that. Number 4 is The Mysterious Planet. I rewatched this one not long ago, did a review on it. If I hadn't done that, I probably would have put Terror of the Vervoids, because I do love Terror of the Vervoids a lot, especially the trialless version on the box set. I do think it's really good. It has its flaws as well, but I do enjoy it. But I do think I like Mysterious Planet better after this last watch through. I think it's a solid Robert Holmes script. I think it's an underrated Robert Holmes script, much like the Crotons. Especially keeping in mind Robert Holmes was in very bad health at the time. I think the soundtrack to it is really impressive. I think the acting is done really well. And I think the relationship between the Doctor and Perry is a lot better here than it was in season 22. A lot of the stuff that would have come across as rough between them is said playfully and like friendly with them, like with the Doctor bumping her bumping her elbow with his elbow as he playfully chides her about something. I really do think there's a bit of time that's passed between season 22 and season 23 where they bonded more, and I really, really like that. And plus, I just enjoy the story. I really do. Number 5, I put Jubilee, the Big Finish story. The only Big Finish story I've seen, or listened to, I should say. And the only one I actually own. I'd always heard good things about Jubilee. I know it's from the same guy who wrote Dalek, my favorite Dalek story. And Jubilee's fantastic. Colin, both of the 6 Doctors in it are great. I forget the name of the woman who's traveling with him. She's great. It's a really good story. If you haven't listened to Jubilee, you should listen to Jubilee. I can see why so many people like the 6th Doctor in audio, having just listened to that story. Colin's really, really good in it. So those are my top 5 picks. I would like to know what your top 5 picks are and what you think of my list. So comment down below. Let me know the 5 you would pick and the reason why you would pick them. Other things to do, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications so you never miss out on a new video. I have also started a Patreon if you would like to contribute to that. There is a link to that down below. My entry-level tier is only $2 a month. So check that out if you have a few seconds to spare. Most importantly, stay safe out there, and thank you for watching.